The Domestic Violence Center's clients not only transform their own lives while they recover and begin to thrive again, they also have an incredible mark on the center staff.
So what happened, this is our living room, and in here we do our groups. There's also our clients basically are able to do, like, their Windows art projects will happen here. This is a place where you'll see moms and kids hanging out together. We have a lot of books that people can read and they donate. We also have videos that are helpful for them, as well as also a way to entertain at times when people need to kind of have a little bit of an escape. During the day, there are groups that happen in here continually, so that they are learning life skills, they're learning parenting classes, they're learning about domestic violence education. So a lot of this takes place in this common room in our shelter. They do cook together, as I said, and what happens is there's a schedule for them for chores, there's a schedule for them for laundry. We'll show you the laundry room as well. So this is really a home that they come to when they've had to leave their home. And so this is a space that we try to make feel as comfortable and where they can have the autonomy that they need to have and the empowerment that they need to have to kind of grow through this experience of being safe for 30 days in our space here. Mostly we have women that come with 1 or 2 children. And so we have a child care coordinator who does activities with them, who will also do the parenting classes with the parents because she's working with the kids and kind of understands what are some of the issues that the children are showing because of the aggression that they've seen in their home or because of some of the transitions that are going on just in leaving their own home, the same as the mother is having. We have baby dolls and kitchens and places where they can kind of reenact and kind of talk about what's happening or has happened in their lives and is happening in their lives right now.
Many of the center's advocates have personal experience with domestic violence, which make their success really rewarding, and their struggles all the more frustrating. For all of them, it is a labor of love and compassion to help the survivors once again, or in some cases, learn to become thrivers. The center's advocates shared a few of their stories.
There was a client that arrived in our shelter program with her young child. They had just come out of a really controlling and abusive relationship. She had severe anxiety and PTSD from past childhood trauma. She struggled with substance abuse and use to try to cope with her feelings. The first group we did about PTSD, she cried a lot because she did not realize that those past events that happened to her had such a big impact on her current self.
So we had a client that came in. She came in without her children. She was really abused, like with, her throat was pretty slashed. Me walking into that was very hard for me because as a person that came from domestic violence, it hit a lot of places.
There was a client who had left their relationship and basically thought that they were doing everything right, was at family's house. Her and her son were the perfect example of how domestic violence affects children. She had pretty much self-diagnosed her son with ADHD and was staying with family and had came to the shelter because the social worker made her.
Monique. She was probably the first client that came. We've had several that was a little bit elderly, and her coming to the shelter, I think, made her feel like I've lost control of my life at this age. How can this happen to me? What did I do wrong? So, her idea was like she was so nurturing. She came there just being like that motherhood person, like cooking dinner, being there for everybody, but not forgetting that I'm here for myself.
I'm going to be talking about Maddie, and when she came to the shelter, she's 18 years old, kind of part of my story, so she was very close to me. When she came in, she came from such an abusive relationship that I think she spent most of the time in our office because she was afraid to be alone.
The education for clients can be life-changing.
So this is one of the rooms. Our rooms are all equipped to have an infant in here. This is actually a trundle bed, so it could be a mom and a little one, maybe a 4 or 5-year-old, and also then an infant. So they get their storage space here for their clothing. When they come, what's on the bed is always a welcome kit. So we give them pajamas and a bathrobe and slippers, and we can always ask for tons of those because that's what really works for us. And then they get all kinds of hygiene products so that they have that. And the kids get something that has toys in it. It's called a stuffed bag. It has toys and games appropriate for the age of the child that's here.
I spoke to her about her past substance use and offered to take her to an AA meeting. She was nervous but open to the idea of trying new things to help overcome her struggles. She came to the meeting with me and really soaked in everything they were saying. The drive back to the shelter, she was overcome with emotion because she was really able to relate to a lot of what the speaker was saying. She was able to identify why she was using and to be able to see that she is not alone. The growth that she showed during her time in the shelter was really beautiful. To see her soaking in all the information about domestic violence and trauma and being able to see her connect the dots in her own life was empowering for her to be able to move forward. She came to see that she does not have to be defined by the things that someone else did to her, but she can be whoever she wants to be.
And give up on her. We worked and she worked so hard to get into a transitional housing. And she was the first elderly client that actually got transitional housing.
It took for her to go into the groups that we offer at the shelter, for her to be able to open up and be safe. We provided a safe place for her to cry. I honestly believe the staff, the education, sharing my experiences as well with her allowed her to, it's okay, trusting in me, confiding that everything was going to be okay, and it was. The only thing that wasn't provided for her was a transitional, but she was able to provide herself a safe place to go after.
When they leave us, they will put their handprints and a message on the walls, either in the children's room or in the office. And right here it says in English, now I'm happy, God bless this place, thank you so much for all the help, you guys are the best, I will always have you guys in my heart. These are people where they have felt safe for the first time and then empowered to make that next step to success. And that's what we're about.
After going to the groups and getting the education and seeing the effects of domestic violence and actually learning that these behaviors were tied into the results of domestic violence on children. And through time, her son was actually becoming her abuser. He was not only abusing her, but he was abusing staff as well. Throughout the client's stay, we were able to get her some therapeutic services through actually Child and Family Center. They had come in and worked with her son and helped her get coping skills. But I just remember seeing her breaking down because he would say things that would be her batterer, and it would take her back. And she was doing the best that she could. And if she wouldn't have came into the shelter, she would have basically lived her life chalking up his behavior as ADHD or whatever she heard from other people that behavior was.
She had the best smile and all the services. She took advantage of all of the services that we have. She was in all the groups. To see her was amazing. The most difficult was part of Maddie's story. She came so far and did so much. And yet, there was no place for her to go afterwards. There's no single transitional homes. It's very hard to help them. When she got out, even her 5-year restraining order wasn't enough to protect her. There was nowhere for her to go, and she died from her abuser.
Stories like Maddie's are all too common, and something the Domestic Violence Center works every day to prevent, providing shelter, counseling, and a number of services to hopefully, one day, put an end to domestic violence. Your donations, efforts, and support help make that possible.